Hi there, karibu sana. Welcome to Her Standards with me, Queen Tambori. As a matter of fact, thank you so much for keeping it here every week to get to listen to the inspirational stories that we have for you. Now, I've said this before and I'll say it again, that one thing I love about this show is the fact that we profile women that we think you need to know. And thank you for your feedback. Many people have been writing about the women they believe need to be on this platform, and we appreciate you. Keep writing, keep talking to us. We are available at KTN Home across all social media platforms. You can also hit me up at Queen Tambori on Facebook, on Instagram, and also on Twitter. The woman we have on the show today is one who is definitely playing in the big leagues. She's playing with the big boys in one of the male-dominated industries I know, and that is in the media industry. She is an executive director at Association of Media Women in Kenya, AMWIK. I'm sure by now you already know who I am talking about. Ladies and gentlemen, help me welcome Judie Kaberia.
Thank you.
Hi, Judy.
Hi, Quinta.
You're
nice
looking
you
asante.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel very beautiful.
Oh.
Yeah.
How often do you do the makeup? You look so nice.
Rarely. Sometimes it's so busy, I just scratch and leave. So today I'll make sure that I am seen all over because I feel really good with the makeup on.
You look very nice.
Yes.
You look very nice in your natural hair. When I grow up.
We are happy that we have technology and chemicals to help us. Otherwise, my hair is usually still wire, you know. But with the relax and all that, at least I can be able to compete. Yes.
Finally, we get to host you on Her Standards. I'm excited. Are you?
Oh, very excited. I've been really looking forward to this for a very long time.
Really?
Like 5 months. I was like, when is Queen coming to me? Yeah, so I'm really excited that finally we've made it.
You should have said something. You should have dropped me a DM.
No, I knew
you knew it was coming.
I knew you'd come to me. I knew you'd come one day.
Wow, I love that confidence.
Yes, but your show is really loved. I really like it. I learned so much from other women, quite an inspiration. And, you know, creating that platform to learn from others. I have learned so much from that. You know, this has been a new role. But looking and hearing at what other women have done, I've really picked a lot of tips. And so thank you for the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, keep on working hard and doing that, you know, to give the women a platform. Asante
sana. Yeah. It's because of women like you that we actually have a show. If you ask me.
And you know, for me, you've touched my heart, because for me, it's to create spaces for women. Is to look at a woman, not just a victim, but a woman who is very important socially, economically, politically. Women are doing such an amazing job. The challenge has been no one gives them the space to be heard. No one gives them time to talk about what they do. But the reason other women hear others speaking about it, they also encourage and they're like, wow, me too, I can come out and speak. I am sure now people are looking for you, they want to talk.
Yes.
Because we're coming from a closet where women don't like talking. You see a microphone, you take off. You know, you see an opportunity where you can say about what you do, you take off. So this is really good that we have now that platform, and we are encouraged to continue speaking, because sometimes I would say I don't want to appear on TV. I've been in the media. But I struggled so hard. For the first time to appear on a TV show, I was wondering, how can I go to a television show? And I remember my former boss, Chris, just go. You are okay, just go. And actually, I was very tensed. I was so tensed. But at the end of the day, it was very good for me, because also increasing the visibility, talking about our significance, our impact, the work that we do. And inspiring other people through the kind of life that we've gone through, because you may look at Judie Kaberia and you don't know her story.
You have no idea.
You have no idea where I've come from.
Yes. Anyway, she's here today, and we'll have an idea at the end of the show. How is AMWIK?
AMWIK is doing great. This is my 5th month at AMWIK, and I can say, you know, we are just...
You should say this is my 5th month as executive director.
Yes, this is my 5th month as executive director. Leading a group of really amazing women in the media, editors, managing editors, journalists, public relations, communication people, over 300 members. That is the kind of population we manage. So I head the secretariat, and also we have our board. So it's been an amazing journey, as well as a learning journey as well, coming from journalism, transitioning from, you know, digging up and finding out the truth to fundraising. But I've really learned a lot, I would say, so far. The journey has been amazing. We've created a very good network. We have new friends on board. And I can tell you, you know, we are on, what can I say, almost at the top of the mountain.
Wow, we're almost getting there. Now, anybody who's watching here and wondering what AMWIK does and how they can be part and parcel of AMWIK, Maybe you can also shed some light on that, yes.
Yes, Association of Media Women in Kenya was started in 1982. AMWIK was started at a time when the voices of women were really, you know, nowhere to be heard. A lot of focus was always on men. If it's coverage of politics, it was always about men. If it's about the media, it was always about men. Yeah. And that is why AMWIK was started, to amplify the voices of the women, to talk about issues that affect the women. And because you can imagine the journey of talking about the women, right from female genital mutilation, speaking about the women contribution to politics and economic life, we never had that space. And that is why AMWIK was formed. And I'm really so proud of the founders of AMWIK, the people who came up with that idea. And looking at the kind of work that AMWIK does, it's amplifying the voices of women using the media, because the membership is made up of journalists and the people in the media. And so what we do is looking at the issues that affect the women, and now we use the power that we have, the power of the microphone, the power of the pen, the power of the paper, to talk about the issues that affect the women. Yeah. And because of also our role also in the media, in the media industry, it's not just about women. There's a lot of things that we look at, you know, gender responsive reporting, election reporting, and even looking at the technology, like we've also had to change a lot. Like now we've even been training journalists and political aspirants, especially the women, on digital security. We've been tackling issues of online violence, and basically we've had to be changing according to times, because we realize even the threats against women are no longer just offline, we also have them online. So AMWIK basically is there to ensure there is gender mainstreaming and ensure that the voices of the women are being heard. And not just being heard on the second or the third page of our newspapers, but is actually being heard on the front page of the newspaper. Is being heard as a headline story. So there's a lot of things that we are doing at AMWIK, and one of the ways that we drive, we pay subscription to become members of AMWIK. For the people who work, we pay 3,000 shillings, and also we have students who are studying journalism. We also encourage them to come on board, because we try to train them so that by the time they transit, they've already been exposed to the media house. So for the students, we charge them 1,500. And I can tell you, those who have been members of AMWIK can really speak of the benefits, because we also build their careers. We don't want a media where you cannot survive on your own, that you don't have the knowledge and skills, because you have to think of career progression. Yes, you're a journalist, but what do people know you for? You know, do people know you because you've been fighting for the children's rights? Do people know you because you've been fighting, you know, for climate change and that we can intervene? So we are trying to ensure that, you know, through these trainings that we're empowering the journalists, that 5 years from now, you can see yourself, 10 years from now, you can see yourself and ask, Mbori, what do I want to be 10 years from now? And this is what we are doing, and this is why we encourage people to become members of AMWIK, because we have so much to offer, a lot to offer. And this year we are turning 40 in March.
Wow, life begins at 40.
Yeah, life begins at 40. So you can imagine we've just been playing around, and now we are going to start our life. Wow. And so in these 40 years, we're really going to launch very important documents that are going to guide how we work. At the same time, we also want to launch a mentorship program with the EU delegation in Kenya. And all we want is to encourage, especially the women at the management level in the newsrooms, that they feel there's a shoulder to lean on, that we can discuss the challenges that we are facing as managers. Sometimes you can look at Judie and say, she's the ED, she's okay, she's the boss. But even being that ED, there are a lot of challenges that you go through, and exchanging knowledge, exchanging survival tactics is what is going to help. So for us at AMWIK, basically is to empower the women in the media, and also empower the larger society, the women in the larger society, by ensuring we are the bridge between them and their visibility, the bridge between them on how they can package themselves, including some of the projects that we have is, you know, to train female aspirants on how they can engage the media effectively. So I would say AMWIK is the right place to be. If you're a journalist, if you're a woman in the media, in communication, AMWIK is the right place to be, because we do it wholly, even socially, psychosocial support. We are really tackling a lot of issues through AMWIK.
Wow. You know, one of the things that this show does actually is we connect, we empower, and we influence. And therefore, I think this is an opportunity for anyone who probably feels lost, and they're in the media space, and they're wondering what do they need to do, whether they're in college, whether they're already in the job market. Maybe you need to find your way to AMWIK, because I believe that will actually be one of the keys that will open your future and probably even for you to brand yourself and be prepared, to flourish and prosper in this industry of ours, which is male-dominated? Are you on social media?
Yes, I'm on social media at Judie Kaberia on Twitter and Judie Kaberia on Facebook.
Yeah. 2 platforms.
2 platforms.
You have not been influenced to join TikTok?
No, TikTok not yet. By the way, I promise this year I want to start to be on TikTok. I've told you I don't want AMWIK to be left behind in terms of technology.
Okay.
So this year I want to be on TikTok. I'm also on Instagram. And of course, I've been trying to, place my role and balance my, management and leadership.
Yes.
But I can tell you I'm really utilizing that space. Yes.
Oh, lovely. Yes. Do you have any questions? Do you have any comments? Do you have any feedback for our guest for today? It's Judie Kaberia. She is the ED, Association of Media Women in Kenya. She's actually my boss on another front. So I'm really privileged to be able to host her on Her Standards today. Please talk to us, KTN Home, Quintambori, but you can also talk to our guest directly. Maybe you have a burning question, you have good comments for her. Maybe, I don't know, just talk to us. And let's engage as we progress with the show. Judie, where did you come from? Where did you come from? What are some of those fond memories that you have of your childhood? Yeah, because we want to, when some people say you need to trust the process.
Yes.
Yeah, so let's start from the beginning.
Yeah. I really like that question because there's a friend of mine who told me we need to write a book about our childhood.
Yeah.
Because I remember myself in a very small village. It's really tucked in the interior of Maua. It's in Meru County.
Okay.
A small village called Kebilaku. It's a plateau. Kebilaku.
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 Okay.
It's so remote. Everybody will be shocked to hear that name because even where we come from, people even don't know that village. It's so small and tiny. Yeah. But it's a beautiful place on a plateau with a lot of tea plantations, a lot of farming that we do. But I can tell you, growing up, we sometimes when I remember we grew up, I look back up, but I'm so proud of that that childhood because I grew up as a girl who would go to fetch firewood. You leave school in the evening. You are not told by anybody, but you just know you have to go run and get firewood. Yeah. You have to go to the river, fetch water. I would carry a 20-liter jerry can on my back, and I didn't need somebody to help me pull it up. Okay. I'll fetch it, throw it on my back, and throw the rope, and on the other side, and tie, and put 2 smaller ones, 5 liters. So I had with me 30 liters on my back. Climb up the hill, go and fill up the tank. Then at around 6:30, I start doing the homework, and you're using a lamp, So I really grew up in that village life. But I can say it's a village, it's a life that made me very resilient. But I had very nice memories. I really enjoyed doing that kind of work. It was not easy, Running to during holidays, you have to go pick the tea, help the tea pickers, go to measure the tea. I am so good at that, I know everything.
You can see the look on my face.
Yes, I did all that, Quinta.
Yeah.
And we are the kind of people on Saturday, we carry all the dirty clothes for everybody, for my mom, for my dad, for all my siblings. We go to the river, we wash them, we hang them, we wait for them to dry. Other times we just go to fetch water, we block the small streams, we swim, and we wash our clothes, we leave them hanging. And that people I'll never forgive because one of my brother's friends picked our clothes and left with them. I've never forgotten that story, and just to remember me the other day on Facebook, do you remember when we went to swim?
Oh my God.
And so we had to walk for more than 2 kilometers without clothes. We had to look for banana leaves and tie ourselves. We were ducking in bushes. And when we got home, sadly my dad was at home. And my dad was a no-nonsense stick man. We were just caned the way we were 4 kids. Myself and my brother and then our 2 friends were just caned naked at the middle of a field, at a school field. I have never forgotten that story. And those are the memories that I remember, and I'm like, wow, I had the best childhood. Yeah. I am so would even do a competition of jumping from tree to tree because our tea plantation has so many trees. And I was kind of like a tomboy because I'm between 3 brothers. In front of me and behind me there are 3 brothers. So that's the kind of friends that I had around me. These are the people that I grew up with. So I was more like a tomboy, but I knew I had my responsibilities. I had to wash our house. I had to cook for them. I had to do everything for them, Like when I used to close school, my parents used to say, the house girl can go off. You come back when schools reopen. So basically, it was a lot of work. I would cook for 40 tea pickers, githeri with firewood, you know, and I would, we used an axe to break the firewood.
Yes.
So I would get the big ones because the big ones stay for long.
True.
And the big sufuria, very big sufuria. You can imagine sufuria to feed 40 people. So I will wake up like at 5 a.m., put the fire, you know, start getting ready. Put the maize and the beans, and then as I leave it getting ready, you know, the firewood is so big, then I can run to the river, fill up the tanks for the tea pickers to wash, and the other one for them to drink. By the time they come from the tea picking, by 1, my work is just to serve. But I'll bribe a few of them. Hey, when it gets this time, please help me to serve the food. But my dad will say you can do it. But this is the kind of life that has made me to be very resilient. For me, I'm those people who I don't think anything can scare me. But I remember this day that I went down the stream to fetch water, and I looked around me. I just finished fourth form. And I was like, this is not the kind of life I want to live. I am tired of going to the river. I am tired of going to look for fire. I'm tired of arguing with some tea pickers and mirror pickers. Who they don't even respect authority. They don't even respect that I'm the daughter of the people who's employing them. You know, they just say, you woman, I want water, you know. So I'm like, this is not the kind of life I want. And I started the trees and I said, I don't want to be here. I just want to go. And when I leave, I'm not coming back to this village. And if I come, I'll come back with a house girl with my car, but I'm not coming here to be working. And I think that gave me a lot of vision in life. I really worked hard, and I was saying the moment I start college, I'll not come back. And just to tell you about something, which is very good for people to know about me, and what inspired me to become a journalist. When I finished class 8, our area is full of female genital mutilation. So for me, I thought it's okay. I have to go through FGM. I'll move to my own house. My mom and my dad do not have to be in control of my life, because this is the life I grew up in. This is what I knew is the right thing to do in FGM. If you told me FGM was bad, I'll tell you, no, you don't want me to have my independence. Because, you know, those girls will undergo the cut, come out in a long line with the shaving punk. They will shave punk and walk and roam freely. Nobody will ask them. So I had planned to escape for FGM, and some tea pickers were helping me to escape. I packed my clothes, cleaned up everything. I was just waiting for the day that I would escape early in the morning at 5 a.m. But I don't know how my dad got to know about it. He woke me up at 4 a.m. Before I knew it, I was in Kisumu at my sister's house. I was just told, wake up, twende Maua. Tukateremka Maua, we went to Maua. We went on a bus. I had not even, and he was not talking. He never spoke to me throughout the journey. I only knew where we were going after I found myself in my sister's house in Kisumu. And I was told, now, stay here, then you'll learn FGM is not good for you. So my sister asked me, where the hell did you come with the idea that you can undergo FGM? Did you ask yourself if you ever underwent FGM? My sister, sorry, she's late. We lost her in September last year. And she told me, have you ever asked yourself if I ever went through FGM? And your older sister, we don't talk about that in our family. We don't go through it. Then I'm like, oh, you people are not happy for me. You know, I just thought it was the right thing that I had to do. And that's how I ended up going to Mukumbu Girls in Kakamega. And in Form 2, that's when I actually knew what FGM was, what goes through there. And I remember I attended a training at Pan-Africa Hotel. And that's why I believe in the power of speaking out, the power of sharing the stories. And I attended this conference. I was so young. And there were the Nyivamwendwas, the people that I used to read about. Actually, I think the only thing that caught my attention was the video of the FGM. But the rest, I was so like, I'm at Pan-Africa Hotel. I carried the serviettes. I carried the cookies, you know, just to show evidence that I was actually at a Nairobi hotel. But I got the message right about what FGM is, the kind of surgery that goes on. And then I was interviewed by somebody from the people. And the following day, everybody was speaking about seeing my name and my interview there. And then I saw myself on the newspaper. That's when I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I just said something and I'm all over. People can hear me. And so I was wondering, when I grow up, what can I do to ensure that I can share my story? And especially I wanted to fight female genital mutilation. For me, if you asked me why I wanted to become a journalist, is because I wanted to have space where I'll tell the people where I come from that FGM was bad for them. So that's how I got my call to journalism when I was in Form 2. And so that was then, and I finished my fourth form all the way from Kakamega. And now I had to go back to the village. And then that's when I was wondering, oh my God, how am I going to stay in this village? I have no friends. They went through FGM, so you're alone now. You walk around, people start calling you Mukenya. Mukenya is uncircumcised. So I was facing a lot of discrimination, and I just wanted to leave that place.
Yeah.
And when I said I really wanted to leave, I came to Nairobi, studied journalism, and after I finished, my dad told me to go back home to work there with him. He was a director at KTDA, Kenya Tea Development Authority.
Yeah.
He told me just come and work as a secretary here. I told him, Dad, I'm not called to become a secretary. But he said, I don't want you to struggle looking for, just come. My sisters told me, Judy, you are going back to Kibilaku. You'll be wearing sports shoes and surf course shirts, and you have to cut your hair. I looked at that picture of me in sports shoes and surf course skirts and Red Bulls t-shirts and short hair. I said, after the way I've become smart in Nairobi, you know, I've known how to dress up in tights, in nice clothes. I'm like, no. I can't go back there. So my sister told me, you stay here. Just say you have a job. So I told my dad, I am working for KBC. I have a job. I refused to go. So I was busy on the streets of Nairobi doing marketing, you know, the things that you sell soaps, you sell, you know, those mafutas. That's what I was doing along the streets of Nairobi for a very long time. So sometimes we'll be paid 500 shillings. But I remember there's this day we went to market them. The whole day, and I sold everything. I came back, the guy just refused to pay me. So that's when I said, no, I can't go on doing this. And with time, I struggled. I got internship at KBC. After KBC, I joined Redwater Mini, Catholic radio station, where I worked as a news editor. But I was also a presenter. I was also a reporter, and I had very bad Kimeru accent.
You can't say that
I wanted to be a radio journalist, but my accent, I'd struggled with it, even in high school, in Mukumu girls. People, I would laugh, everybody in class falls down. There's this day I was told to read the word hardware. I said underwear. I could not even say hardware. I was made to repeat 3 times. But I said underwear. You know, was it actually in, no, it was actually in primary. It was in primary, I remember. I went to St. Paul's boarding. And I transferred from a public school, so I went to a boarding school. So when I went, I was told to read hardware. I said underwear. Repeat underwear. Everybody in class was thinking that. And we are Merus, but mine was worse. Even if in Meru, mine was still worse, and we are still in Meru. Yeah? So it was really bad. So when I joined Redwater Mini, I had that radio show. But I will talk, imagine it's a Christian radio station, but someone calls and asks, is she speaking Kimeru or English? It was so bad. And then now my friend asked me, there's a priest who was my friend, he asked me, Judy, can you just become a print journalist? Can you just write? I'm like, no, I just want to do broadcast. But you know, this priest even used to pray for me. He would even hold my hands and pray for me to tell me, change your decision, become a print journalist. I told him, no, I will stay here and I'm a radio journalist. So people tried. There are those who told me go on, but there is somebody who told me, you know what, just start trying to pronounce right, because I was a very good writer. I would do very good features. You know, and one time my friend said on air, don't listen to how she pronounces, listen to the story. But it was still really bad. Honestly, it used to be so bad. I listened to myself some years later and I'm like, oh my God, why did I even try to go on air? So in that process, I met some new friends who were covering the Constitution at the Bomas of Kenya. And in that process, I made some contacts, I made some network. That's when I moved to Germany. So I was in Germany for 3 years. And I used to speak German, I used to report in German. I worked at Helvig Radio. German for me was very easy because, you know, German, you just write it as it is written. But meanwhile, I said I'm going to work on my accent while in Germany. So I will record myself and replay. And when I came back, I said I'm going to work for Capital FM. I was too ambitious for life. Capital FM, you know, people say Capital FM. You know?
Capital
you know?
FM, yes.
Can you imagine from Mbuk, Ndint, saying that you want to work for Capital FM? So when I came, I was not even looking for a job anywhere else. Because I used to listen to Capital FM while I was in Germany, and I'm like, this is where I want to work. And my sister was like, Judy, you are too ambitious. Can you even say you want to work at another one, but not seriously Capital, you know, where you're coming from? I told my sister, you don't worry. If I speak, you'll not notice. My sisters, I don't know why they never had an accent, really. But for me and my brothers, in fact, even my brothers are still there. For us, it was so bad, you know, it was so bad. So I came back, stayed for like 6 months, doing correspondence, features, and sending to Germany. But then I got my job at Capital FM, and so I was there. Of course, sometimes I didn't speak to, depending on who I spoke to. There are some I never bothered to speak to because I was still struggling with it. But it's a journey where you decide, this is what I want to do. And no matter how much, how difficult it looked like, I really knew I had to put a lot of effort in that.
We want to take a short break. This is Her Standards with me, Queen Tambori. Do not move. There's still a lot we want to talk about, including the state of media in Kenya, particularly touching on our women or female journalists. Don't go away. We'll be right back. We are glad you could join us yet again for this second part of Her Standards. My name is Queen Tambori and I am your host. Today's episode, we have a woman that you need to know. I am talking about Executive Director, Association of Women
in Kenya.
I'm talking about Judie Kaberia. She's here with us, telling us the journey, the process, the making of an executive director, where she has come from. And of course, we are ready to talk about the state of media, women in media in Kenya, especially women in media leadership. Before we took a break, in case you missed the juicy story of Judie coming from Meru village, most interior village in Meru, and of course coming to the urban city, going through Kakamega, traveling to Germany, and now she was back at Capital FM. We are just picking up from there. So welcome back, Judie.
Thank you.
Yeah, remember we are available across all social media platforms at KTN Home, at Queen Tambori. You can also talk to our guest at Judie Kaberia on Facebook and Instagram, and as well as Twitter. Remember, you can also use a hashtag. It's very simple. It is just hashtag Her Standards. Talk to us, engage us, tell us how the show is impacting you, and if you have any questions, do not hesitate to engage us, Judie. Please pick up from where you left. Yes.
Yeah. So I joined Capital FM, and I remember the time we came in, we didn't have jobs. It was myself, Ann Kiguta, and 2 other guys. But we had been told there's one position. They'll pick only one of us. So for 3 months, it was a struggle. This is where you hear there's a terrorist attack. All of you run with the microphones because you want to be the one to tell the story so that you are picked. But then we decided to become a team. So we worked with Ann Kiguta, Deritu, may soul rest in peace. He died just at the start of COVID.
I remember.
And myself. So the 3 of us, who were like 5 of us, but the 3 of us decided to be a team. And so I remember there was a terrorist attack somewhere in Kencom. And we jumped out, the 3 of us. We went at the same time and we coordinated. One is talking to the policeman, the other one is investigating to check how many bodies were involved. And we did such a great work together. You know, it was such a good piece of work. And one of the things that actually made us to get hired is that whereas most of the media houses were saying 6 people had been blown off, actually it was 1 person, only that the body parts were split. And because we were at the top of the game, we were able to do the 411, we were at the top of the game. And this is when now we were confirmed. This is how we got the jobs, the 3 of us. So the position that was to be for 1 person, we were hired at that time after 3 months of probation. And, you know, you really have to work hard, you know. Like a journalist now, you really have to really, like, show what you can do. And I'm sorry, the world doesn't care you're a woman. If there's anything I've learned as a journalist, nobody cares you're a woman. What people care about is what you can do. And we were hired because you could work. And with time, you know, I was just a normal radio journalist. Capital FM was just radio. So we'll just do the he says, she says story. I mean, within 5 minutes, I've typed my story. I'm done with my short clips. And with time, I was getting tired of doing these things. I was not getting challenged. I was not challenging my writing skills. I'm more of a writer than, you know, radio and all that. So I used to have features on Capital FM on Saturday and Sunday every day. By good luck, introduced a website. We had a website where we had to do stories. Now, I'd completely forgotten how to write. So we were struggling with how we translate 100 words to become 500 words. We really struggled with that. And then we are like, no, let's hire other people who can do print as we continue with radio. He said, if you don't want to do it, just pack your bags and leave. We get the people who can do that. So we started struggling with the language of print and all that. By the time, we earned a new skill of print, you know, like online writing, which was really good. Again, he said, now you have to be taking photos. So we were bought cameras. So you do a radio story, you do a print story, you
you
come
take
with a photo,
pictures.
you put it. And with time again, you know, him was somebody who was really, you could see things from far.
Yeah.
So we already started going digital way before even the migration happened. He used to tell us, you're refusing to do this thing, but a wave is coming, and if you are not conforming to this, you'll be out of it. When people are saying, oh, transitioning from analog to what? Kirubi had said, if you don't, please, the door is there, you walk out and leave. But if you want to stay here, you have to do those things that I'm telling you. And so we started doing that. Within no time, television was there.
Yeah.
Oh, now you do Vox Pop.
Yes.
Eh? I can't remember, it was called, I don't know, Street Talk or something.
Yeah.
This time Victoria Rubadiri had joined us. And this is how she got discovered actually, because she would appear on TV, she would go and do stuff, even Olive Barrows as well. And you see, we were able to have so many skills. You know, we could do radio, print, do photography, do videography, write a video story and features. And now I was even able to do my features on a larger scale.
Yeah.
If you saw inside my house, I have so many awards.
Yes, I've seen them.
I have 11 journalistic awards.
Hey.
And all these awards I got is because of that digital migration, where we'll do stories, television pieces, and have them online.
Yeah.
And I remember the first story that I got an award for was Birth by the Roadside. This is a story I did in Marsabit. And it was actually put on Capital TV online. And you see, because of that creation, and even that, you know, being versatile enough to change, to adapt to change. And yes, we were resistant initially, but look at the outcome. You know, change is difficult, but it works for the best. And I can tell you, I sharpened my skills. Even sometimes I used to be shocked whether this is the same Judy. This is the same Judy. You know, sometimes I sit back and I try to remember my childhood. I'm like, even me, I shock myself. I'm like, it's not possible that it's me, the same person, that I look back and wonder if it's the same person. But I really grew in my career. But looking back at Capital FM, if I look back at the ICC, the International Criminal Court, I would say this is when my career sprang. This is when I discovered other things that I could do. This is when I discovered about projects, about proposal writing, about going international. And that's for the first time we had a proposal on reporting on international criminal court cases. They were really highly politicized. And I got good friends. One of them, she's Bettina Ambach, she's German, and that one is Robert Mensa. All these are former journalists. Robert used to work for the UN Peace Radio in Liberia, and Bettina Ambach is a journalist who used to work for a German media outlet. And so we started a project, we call it Reporting Kenya. And now that organization has grown to be international. It's called Wayamo Foundation. And through this, we're able to create a network of 20 journalists who, for the 6 years during the international criminal court cases, we had a project where we were able to support them, do good stories objectively. The stories were objective. We never said it was right or wrong. We never said anyone should be jailed. Of course, there were a lot of challenges, my friend. I mean, a lot of, I don't want to talk about those, but they were really nasty. And there was a lot of people misconstruing us, you know, thinking that maybe we're working for the ICC, maybe we know the witnesses. I can tell you it was such a big problem. I really don't want to talk about it. I mean, I don't want to have problems with anyone, but all I can say is that that network for us was just about ensuring the objectivity of the cases, the objectivity of how we reported, the story of the accused, the story of the victims, the story of the prosecution, the story of the government of Kenya. That's all we did. And during that process, that's when I created such a network about writing big proposals, big projects. Actually, it's changed how I pursued, how I viewed my life as a journalist. And I really focus so much on international criminal law. Yes, reporting, but I can tell you I had like the best contacts. You ask me for the contacts of the ICC prosecutor, Bensouda, I would get them. You ask for me about even Karim Khan now, he's my very good friend. We've been working together just before he joined the ICC at Wayamo Foundation. So basically what I've realized and how I've utilized that opportunity that I had was to network, build good friendships, and people can challenge you and make you think or see things bigger than the way you can see them. And from that time, actually, that's when I've now gone into like the world of donor funding, fundraising, writing proposals, not just local but international ones. So from that Capital FM in 2017, I left the newsroom. I went to fully work for Wayamo Foundation. For the 2 years, that was now from 2017 all the way to 2019. That's the project I was doing, bringing together the Directorate of Criminal Investigations within the region and also outside, whether it's in Europe. We worked, actually we were able to bring the expertise both locally and internationally because we're also trying to push a scenario where prosecution and the DCI work together. Sadly, You've seen the drama around it.
Yeah,
It's not easy to get them together.
True.
So after my project with Wayamo Foundation, I left. I joined the Journalists for Human Rights. Oh no, before Journalists for Human Rights, I applied for a fellowship to report on human trafficking and harvesting of body organs.
Yeah.
This was sponsored by the Global Initiative Against Transnational Organized Crime.
Yeah.
And so for over 1.5 years, I was reporting and investigating on human trafficking within East Africa. And in 2020, I got a global award on reporting on human trafficking and human smuggling. You know, it was an international award and such a huge recognition.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I've learned as journalists, we can't be comfortable. We cannot be
Actually, I was going to ask you that because I'm listening to you, and from the onset, there's been a lot of transition, there's been a lot of progress, there's been a lot of growth, there's been a lot of hard work.
Yes.
And then there's also been a lot of resilience, because even when you had the reason to give up, you did not give up. And you know, maybe there's some journalists or people in media who are watching and wondering, what is it that drives you? Yeah, what drives you, Judy, to keep going, you know, because you keep moving from strength to strength.
Yes.
Yeah.
For me, it's a passion and dedication. If you decide to be a journalist, journalism is a call. It's a calling. Journalism is not to become a celebrity. Journalism is not to talk to the mighty.
Yeah.
Journalism helps us to see through the eyes of the people who look at us as the watchdog of the society. Are the people who are giving birth, you know, at home or cannot access healthcare. So we are their eyes, we are their voice. And if you look at journalism as a calling and with a purpose, journalism should be about a purpose.
Yeah.
Not just, you know, to be there because you're a journalist, but it's to serve a purpose, ensure that we create impact. And for me, that is what really drives me, especially when I deal with the ordinary people. You listen to their stories and tell their stories. For me, that is actually what used to motivate me more than, you know, going to interview an executive or whoever it is. Yeah. But for me, it's when you interact with the people and you do a story and you see the results because of your story. And I can tell you there's some stories that I did, and when I was called to be told that, oh, we found this story and wanted you to help us to get to these people so that we can help them. For me, that is what I called a motivation, and that is what I wanted to do. When you decide to do a story, I always ask a journalist, for what purpose? Why are you doing this story? If you are not finding a purpose, if you are not finding a good reason as to why you are doing that story, then it is useless. Just wachana nayo. Kama isaidi, even if you're investigating or you are criticizing the government, ask, why am I criticizing the government? Because I want them to change it. As a duty bearer, they need to change this, you know? So don't just do things for the sake of doing things, but do things with a purpose of making it better, of improving everything. That is actually what really inspires me. That is what makes me to feel like, you know, even now I look at stuff and I'm like, I think I need to write a story. Then I'm like, oh, I don't have the time.
No, you need to write it.
No, I love to do that. Yeah, nowadays I do a lot of blogging on different issues.
Yes.
But for us to remain truthful to our call, the passion has to be there.
True.
Journalism, no one can pay us. We've risked our lives. I have had very nasty experiences sometimes. Yeah. You're driving and you meet with cattle rustlers along the way. And it's a true story. This is where you even write a message saying, please, when I die, take my kids to my mother. And I remember my videographer, Mudoni, removing the tape and putting it under the car so that if we get killed, then at least they can see what happened to us. And the driver was preaching and holding and say, if it's not your day to die, hautakufa leo. And we are stuck, we can't move. The road was so bad, it's on rocks. You can't run away. And the rustlers are there shooting and beating up the people who are ahead of us. By good luck, there was a typhoon, you know. They never saw us for some reason. They just raided, beat up the people, shot some people, and disappeared. But you know, someone asked me, why did you risk your life to go and tell such a story? Yeah. I told them I did a story about how women were giving birth on the road, how women were losing their lives, losing their babies' lives because of not having a place to give birth. The story got an award. But when we were launching the Beyond Zero campaign, I was part of that team that was invited as journalists for the work that we had done. So you can see there's always impact for the work that we are doing. So if we do it right, we highlight where the weaknesses are, where the gaps are, and then there's action that comes. Sometimes it doesn't come. It is so frustrating, but I don't get tired. I say, the fact that we have spoken about it, I have done my part. The ones who haven't done their part, now the lands are to God. For me, God, the power you've given me, I have used it in the right way. Because journalism, I say, is power that God has given me. So how do you use that power? Do you use that power to destroy? Do you use that power, you know, to make things better? Do you use that power to build? How do you use that power? It is God-given. If you abuse it, there are consequences.
Exactly.
That's what I always say. And for me, actually, that is what really makes me to enjoy my part of life as, you know, a journalist.
A journalist.
Yes.
Judy, you are in charge of about 300 women at AMWIK. And of course, you are a role model to several women in media. What do you think are some of the issues that are facing women in media in this country? And what is it that we need to do as stakeholders, and what do the women in media themselves, what can they do in order to overcome some of these issues?
It's good that you're asking me that question, because I see the things that are affecting the women, because I have also been affected by them as I progress in my career. And the first thing that the industry need to realize is, when you enter the newsroom, you're a young person. You know, you can go anywhere, you can go to Mogadishu, you can go wherever. You don't have really like that serious thing of, you know, you have people that you have to take care of. But as a woman grows, a lot of things happen. You know, we get married, we become wives, we become mothers, we are pregnant at some point, and so we cannot continue being the way we were before. And this is a natural process. There's nothing that we can do about it. I wish there's anything we could do about it, but there's nothing that we can do about it. And that is when the undermining of the female journalist starts in the newsroom, when their life starts changing. You know, before they're all over the place. And now they're pregnant, they can't even go anywhere. You know, you can't even send them anywhere. Sometimes they need to go to the toilet from now and then. I remember there's a time I was supposed to go and cover the president. I refused, the former president, Mwai Kibaki. I said, I'm not going. It was at Bomas of Kenya. And the editor asked why. I said, because I need a toilet and said, you're not the first one to become pregnant. And so I'm like, you know, every pregnancy is very different. It's quite discouraging. And at that point, some women decide, I'm walking out of the newsroom. You know, some even when they think I am about to get married or settle down, they just walk away because they have seen what has happened to the others. So I think they need to recognize that natural process of a woman. The women have given it all their best before this happened to them. So I think when newsrooms do not recognize this and appreciate it and don't see a woman as a burden, I think that is the biggest challenge that we have. Secondly, there's always this perception that the woman is weak, you know, that she can't do it. You know, it's become like entrenched in the society. It's a belief that is there, but they're not given a chance. I have seen where women are given a chance and they can really handle it. So this one is also a challenge, and the reason why a lot of women are walking out of the newsroom prematurely, and few of them are rising to the decision-making table, you know, because we have to have a position where women can make decisions, you know, about the headlines, about various issues. So this one becomes a challenge. Sexual harassment is another white elephant in the room that we have to discuss. And Quinta, when I talk about this, I'm so mad because I didn't expect that I will get a phone call this year that people are being sexually harassed. I thought I thought we are done with those things
Actually,
last year.
There's a survey that was done by One Infra.
Yes.
In partnership with the City University of London.
Yes.
As early as last month. No, in January.
Yes.
They say an average of 40% of women media professionals have experienced sexual harassment. Yet only 1 in 5 report the incident. 80% of cases are not reported. Men are also harassed. So when you say sexual harassment, you have really hit home.
It is so ugly. I'm like, you know, we've been doing a lot of awareness. We've been talking to different groups of people in the newsrooms, editors. And these are the things we've been discussed. So it's very discouraging that we've discussed them. And then this year, even you're getting journalists calling you, telling you what has happened to them. And some cases are just so bad. They're so horrible, you know. And even when you look at the communication and how they are harassed, it is so ugly. And the worst part of it was a young girl was on internship, a young woman was on internship. And we're just training about something totally different. But she opened up and she was saying, I came here expecting to get help. So if I don't get help here, I don't know what is going to happen to me, you know, to the point of depression. And she showed us the messages her boss sent us that you've been really troubling me. I've been asking you out, you've refused. I've been asking you that you date to refuse. The day I get you, I'm going to rape you with salt.
My God.
The girl was traumatized. Because she's young and the guy is the boss. So you can imagine now this kind of harassments that we are talking about. And the worst part of it, you know what it is? Someone texts and says, if it is a crime, why don't you go to the police station? Just because you've spoken about it. You know, so there's also forces that are fighting or blocking us from talking about it. When you talk about it, they are trying to say, who is sexually harassing? It's not about me. No one can sexually harass me. I'll fight back. You know, I can't be sexually. I'll fight back.
Yeah.
You know, but for me, my concern is the younger people who are coming.
The
It cannot be a cycle
the powerless, yes.
Yes. And let me tell you also what you've done at the Association of Media Women in Kenya.
Yeah.
So a lot of talking, you know, the Waye situation and very sad stories for a long time. We didn't know what to do. And the Kenya Media Sector Working Group, and which I appreciate, the level of the industry to address sexual harassment in the country. So the Kenya Media Sector Working Group mandated the Association of Media Women in Kenya to lead, you know, efforts against sexual violence.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we are doing now is we've established an ad hoc committee and we've already developed a model policy that is going to address sexual harassment in the newsroom. Last year in December, in conjunction with the Journalists for Human Rights, Voice for Women and Girls' Rights in Kenya, we launched this committee and the model policy. And now we have the ad hoc committee that is going to work for 1 year until November this year. On now how we know some newsrooms that do not have the policy.
Yeah, the implementation and
yes. So at least we are hoping through this process we can create that mechanism of reporting, because what we lack,
very important.
What we lack, they are there on paper in the newsrooms. They are there in the HR department, but there's no reporting mechanism. So how am I going to report a senior to a HR? This is somebody who is very senior. How do we expect that even to work? It's not going to work. There's no action that will be taken. So we've realized that whereas they have these departments, but there's no a reporting mechanism that protects the victim. Instead, the weight is on the victim. Huyu anasema anakuwa sexually harassed. And you've confidentially broken it to your HR. And a biggest challenge is also lack of redress. So today you are investigated at one media house for sexual harassment, and then they find you guilty, they fire you. Then tomorrow you are hired by a different media house, and you carry the same habits around. And one of the things that I want people to understand, especially the media, most of us are not growing to be young. We are growing to be older. We have our daughters who are coming after us. We have our younger sisters. Do we really want them to be subjected into the kind of harassment that we are seeing? It's not about me. It's not about you. We can fight for ourselves. But what is going to happen to the younger people who are coming in? And that is what I want us to think about. That women are given a chance because they are professionals, but not because you see a victim who you can misuse and then fire after 3 months because you are done with her. We don't want them to be asking for favors, to do stories, you know, because this is what they are told. You want to go and cover the president, or you want to go for a trip to India or wherever, come for a drink in the evening.
I think it's called quid pro quo.
Yes.
I do something for you in favor of something.
And one of the things that people have to understand, especially, it's abuse of power. Abuse of power is where you have the power to do something. You know, power of authority. You know, you have the authority, and you use that power you have. You misuse it to abuse somebody, because that is total abuse. Because why am I using this power to try and convince you to do something that you're not supposed to do? So I think that is when even the perpetrators need to understand what is their responsibility. And now one of the things also we want to do as that ad hoc committee is creation of, awareness creation. We need to go educate people around. There are some young people who don't even know what is sexual harassment. There are some perpetrators who don't even know what they have done. Unconsciously, they're there spanking you, coming and putting your hands and touching you. But they don't think it's a problem. They don't know. So we really need to do, because for us, it's not about punishing. It's about prevention as well. It's about, a deterrence measure that will discourage somebody from doing that. So we really need a lot of things to do around that. So sexual harassment is also another big challenge that is making the women to walk out of the newsroom. Yes.
Thank you, Judy. Unfortunately, our time is up. I wish we had an extra 2 hours, because there's still so much that we would have talked about concerning women in media leadership. But not to worry, we are available across all social media platforms. Let's carry on this conversation on social media at KTN Home, at Quintambori, and also at Judie Kaberia, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Remember, today we were privileged to be in the company of the Executive Director, Association of Media Women in Kenya, AMWIK. She is called Judie Kaberia, a resilient young woman, hardworking, very versatile, and of course one who is inspirational and you need to know. Before we wind up, I'm just going to give you 1 minute, Judie, to tell us 2 things that people would be surprised to find out about you, work, non-work related.
Okay, they'll be surprised to find out that I thought FGM is good.
Yeah, yes.
And oh my God, what else? They'll be surprised to know that you know, I've camouflaged as a man to get a story.
Say what?
I've camouflaged as a man with a hat, tomboy dress, and to get a story.
I don't have anything else to add. This has been Her Standards with me, Queen Tambori, with the amazing and phenomenal woman, Judie Kaberia. Thank you so much for keeping us company. Thank you so much for joining us every week on Saturday at 4 p.m. on KTN Home. We hope that we'll be able to catch you again, same time next week. Bye for now.